Well, stories about Robert. Well, there are many, of course, many, many. Now, I'm one of those people who once got in a car with Robert, and that was never to be done again. Same with Michael, to be honest, actually. But mostly I went to meetings with Robert and had lunch, and they were always absolutely fascinating. The one thing with Robert was he would never give up. I'm just a dry and boring lawyer, and I used to go to his sponsorship meetings, which in itself was always interesting because we were a festival who didn't really want to be sponsored and didn't want to offer any branding. And yet we had really good sponsors who supported us. And Robert somehow kept them all on board, happy, paying us money. Fantastic stuff. But I often go to these meetings. At the end of the meeting, I think, well, that just didn't work and they're not interested. And Robert would come out of it with this incredible spark of optimism. Unbelievable. And think of some other solution to some problem that had been grinding everyone down. And you know what? It worked.
The thing that he and I laughed about most was the Ford at Cockmill. And that was because both of us have managed at some stage or other to write cars off in the Ford at Cockmill. And most of you will know exactly what I'm talking about, the Ford at Cockmill. It does go up and down rather alarmingly. And both he and I were caught out. I think he was in a V6 Jaguar, I think. Anyway.
I met Robert a long time ago. He was introduced to me as a radical green. He was wearing combat fatigues and sporting a straggly beard long before it was fashionable. He was a vegetarian. He couldn't eat chocolate, didn't drink, and thought scampi and chips was a luxury. He also kept goats and bees and made weird arty films. We went to Nepal with WaterAid. We worked together on Glastonbury, the film. We turned the programme into an app and established Williams Green as a venue at the festival. Over the last 25 years, we ate an ocean of sushi at regular Thursday lunches, an event he celebrated on my 60th birthday by buying me this. Funny guy.
When I think of Robert, I find I'm doing it with a smile and perhaps a slight shake of the head. His dry understatement stands out as meriting a comment. With Robert, what he didn't say used to make me laugh. A raised eyebrow, or sometimes the hint of a raised eyebrow.
And I can remember coming up in the offices at Worthy Farm and Robert asked me if I'd like a coffee. And I said, yeah, okay, we'll have a coffee. And he was asking me at the same time about how to actually make cheese. And of course, and I was explaining that you needed a rennet, a bacteria to make the curds and whey, and then you kind of go from there. And as he got the milk out of the fridge, he started to pour it into the coffee. And I said, well, it looks like you're making your own cheese, Robert, because it had actually curdled in the bottle. And it was very funny. And he kind of looked at me and said, oh, that's how you do it then. Oh, well, perhaps we could have done it on our own.
I think a lot of people will talk about him always being on his mobile phone while driving from time to time, particularly at speed, around those bends in Pilton. But for me, it was a parcel I received during lockdown. I opened it, there was no note, but it was 2 packets of Worthy Farm cheddar. And Robert was so pleased to have worked with Michael to bring this project to fruition. He was really chuffed, and it tasted delicious.
What is my funniest Robert story? One thing that does come to mind, after 1 year of site managing the extravaganza, part of the way through the evening, Robert was very kind and gave me a bottle of rum. I think it was a thank you for a job reasonably well done. Very kind of him, I thought. I also thought it was only fair to share some of this rum with my crew and the people who have been working on the show. So at the end of the evening, I opened a bottle of rum, found a few cups, put a slurp into the bottom of each cup, gave the crew a glass to say thank you very much. There wasn't quite enough cups to go round, so I took a swig out of the bottle and said cheers. At which point Robert walked in to the office to see me swigging out of this bottle of rum. He was a little shocked. I actually quite enjoyed it, so I thought, well, I'll go and get myself another bottle of that. I now understand Robert's face when he saw me swinging out the bottle, because I could not find that bottle of rum anywhere for less than £100.
When I last went to the festival, he explained to me on a text, he loved that phone, on the Sunday afternoon that he might be a little late for our intended coffee, as he was a tiny bit busy. Next time I saw him was about 30 minutes later. He was on the pyramid stage introducing the Dalai Lama to Patti Smith. I loved his idea of a tiny bit busy.
I worked with Robert for over 10 years, and the story I'm going to share with you today took place a couple of years ago, but when Robert and I were catching up over lunch, discussing what we may want to do this year at the festival from a recharge point of view, from the network point of view, etc. And as we're chatting away, enjoying delicious food, the stranger comes up to Robert and says, excuse me, aren't you that guy from TV? Oh, don't you, I think you're also on the radio. Aren't you, is it a critic? Aren't you that critic? And Robert just looked at him, smiled and said, oh, I can be a critic.
I will miss him. I was hoping to see a lot more of him and become, and we'd already invited Robert and Anne-Marie down to Somerset, because I think we all really enjoyed passionately cooking and a nice drop of wine, and so we were looking forward to that. So unfortunately that's been cut short, but I have wonderful memories of him, and Anne-Marie's always invited down to Somerset. I'd love to show her around the farm, and we can perhaps get together and do what we plan to do. So have a good afternoon, everyone. This should be a celebration, and it is a celebration of his life, because he was a great man, and we all loved him, and we should honour him.
Afternoon, everyone. A quick Robert story. You might find it funny. I'm not sure if I do, looking back. But a few years ago, I was invited to speak at a conference in Santa Barbara with Robert about festival ticketing, and I invited my wife along. We went a few days in Los Angeles, but the business trip obviously turned into a shopping trip. So I get dragged around some of the expensive shops in Los Angeles, and my wife, she finds this coat. It was thousands of pounds. It was ridiculous. It was a nice coat, to be fair, but I wasn't going to buy it. So a few days later in Santa Barbara, having a nice meal, looking at Pacific, my wife brings it up, and Robert, being the diplomat and the nice guy is, goes, come on, Rob, you can buy the coat. You can afford it. Blah-de-blah-de-blah. Aided and abetted by an Irish lady who should probably remain anonymous. Let's just call her Anne-Marie for this particular story. Plus some other people I'd never even met before weighed in. Now, I'm 5'2", so I can't, and my legs are not long enough to kick people under the table. But anyway, I'm getting battered here. I'm absolutely getting battered. So I think I make my excuses, and I go to the bathroom, and it gets forgotten. Anyway, I didn't buy the coat. Anyway, I returned to England, and I changed my mind. I buy this bloody coat. Sorry. And it's the only time I didn't listen to Robert. So I buy the coat using my Amex, gets shipped over. I got a bill, 900 quid, import duty. So Robert, I should have listened to you, sir. Serves me right. It's the only time I think I didn't listen to you. I miss you very much, sir. And I hope everyone there is healthy and well, and, let's pay our respects to the very, very great man he was.
He was such a lovely, lovely, lovely man, a pleasure to work with. And as you can see, I've adopted a lot of his fashion styles in my own life now to try and, honour the man, because I really want to honour the man. So this is my new outfit for Robert. I thank you.